Mortgage Nerd here. What's going on in our country when it comes to appraisals has reached the level of a crisis. Yeah, I'm not trying to sensationalize this. It truly is at a crisis level right now. So let's take a little walk down history lane. And when the market was booming in the 2000s, the beginning of this century, 2003 to 2006, 7, and 8, what was happening? We were getting mortgage companies like mine. I started in 2005, so not my company, but this is what would happen in the industry. You have a client that wants to get an appraisal, so you'd call up 3 appraisers and say, hey, I need this value. Can you get it? And one would say yeah, 2 would say no. So you'd go with the one that said yeah. What were you doing? You're artificially creating a value that probably wasn't actually the value. Now, if you would have randomly sent that appraisal to those 3 guys and one of them would have gotten it, might have been the guy that gets the higher value that you needed anyway. Maybe it's the other 2 that came in with a little bit of a lower value because they're a little more conservative. They didn't agree with how they arrived at that number. So the latter is how we do it now. It needs to be a random rotation of appraisers. That's how my company does it, at least. We're not going to pick a random list of 100 people we don't know. It's people we know, that we know they do good work, but I don't know which one's going to get it. I can't speak to them or say, hey, give me this higher value. And they won't even do it now. They're afraid of their license being lost as well. So it's good that that change happened the way that it did. The problem is when appraisal independence rules came out after the market crashed, because remember, there was a lot of fraud in appraisals, overvaluations. When Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA went back to all these old appraisals and started looking to see, was this really a good value? They started finding a lot of fraud, a lot of stuff that shouldn't have been going on. So they said, let's create this middleman, an appraisal management company where the greedy lenders and mortgage companies can't get in touch with the appraisers directly. And remember, I had mentioned I have a panel, so it's, I have a limited group of appraisers on there that'll get it. I don't know which one, or you can have this long list, which is what most companies do because they either can't get a panel or they just don't have a panel. So what happened is a lot of appraisers got out of the business back then. I remember when it was happening, and I said it, I was like, man, this is going to be an issue. Not only that, the barriers to entry are very difficult. Let's look at this article. Let's see what they say. So appraiser Mike Lay from Austin with Appraiser House USA, he goes on to talk about how there's antiquated rules mean that it takes the better part of 2 years to get a new appraiser adequately trained to a point where they are self-sufficient. So there's not been anyone else to pick up the excess value. I said this over a decade ago. I said that a lot of appraisers are getting out. New appraisers won't be coming in because it's too hard. The rules, there's too many. It's a lot of training for you to be an apprentice and then become an appraiser. And right now, 2021, we are seeing the result. And the result is there aren't enough appraisers. Then when you have appraisers in a certain area, they're looking at, okay, do I have to drive too far for that one to make $300 or $400? No, I'd rather take one that's nearby. Or I'm full for 2 months. We had a county here in Florida, Okeechobee County. We had to go through 3 AMCs, 3 different appraisal management companies, because they were all saying they couldn't get appraisers to take the job. So if they can't get appraisers to take the job, finally you get it with someone else and they might say $600, $700, too bad, you got to take it. And it's going to come in where it's going to come in. The value is the value. They're going to do a fast job as quickly as they can. Even though it's going to take a month or 2, yeah, it's taken up to 2 months in some places in the US. This is all because of the regulations, the way the regulations are put together. We needed some of this regulation, but over-regulation stifles an economy, it stifles a business, and it's stifling appraisers. We need a lower barrier to entry where more appraisers can come in, and we need more appraisers in the market. And this is with having appraisal waivers. A lot of clients that are refinancing don't have to get an appraisal. And we're still having all these delays in appraisals and just all these issues. Go ahead and read this article. I'm going to have a link there at the bottom for you to take a look if you want to take a look at this article. But it's stuff that I talk about all the time, stuff that I see in the industry. I'm fortunate that I can see things and kind of call it out. And a lot of these videos, I call them out and then we start seeing them years later. Mortgage Nerd out. Thanks.